Hi, my name is Ermond, and this video is based on a diagram that I've created here that I'm calling my universal stream. So the structure of the soul is something that I've always been interested in understanding, and I never really, there's a lot of people that know things about like non-duality or working with belief systems or different healing stuff, but I didn't really see anything around about the specifics about the structure of the soul. So anyway, one day I had a lot of conviction to find it out, really. And so I started to get something. I started to draw something on paper, and a download just started to come down, pour down. And this basically led to the next 3 days creating and fine-tuning the diagram, which you can see here, which I call my direct stream. So this direct stream, before I go into it, I just want to say it has a model of the universe, in which has dimensions and densities, and the dimensions and the densities here that I use are not based on the current mainstream science understanding of it, nor is it from the Ra material or from Bashar. Dimensional models coming from the Guardian perspective, which is more commonly known to come through sources such as Lisa Renee of energetic synthesis. I use it because I cross-check that information with my highest source, and I get it as a source and a reference that my heart aligns with. And I think that's what's most important here, is to find what it is that resonates with you, and you can take whatever you want from this video and discard anything else that doesn't resonate with you. So yeah, it's just a model. I don't claim it to be better than any other model. It's just something as you use as a frame of reference to interpret reality. So as we go into it here, you might look at it and you go like, "Oh, what is this? There's so much information." But it's quite simple. So it uses a structure of the universe where it's comprised. So we'll look at the dimension here, and it goes from 1D being one dimension, first dimension, right up to 16D. But we live in a 15th dimensional universe. 16 is just a bit out. If you think of like an apple, the skin of the apple is like 15D, and you can say the air touching the apple is like 16D, and everything within the apple is like 14D to 1D. So each density is like a musical octave, like how each musical octave has a unique tone. The same is for each density. Each one is unique, and it has its own set of laws in physics. Density 1 is the most dense. It vibrates the slowest. There's linear time. There's dense physical matter. And then as you go up the spectrum, density 5 has the least dense, the highest frequency. The higher the dimension, and for dimensions, the higher the dimension, the more into the future it is, and the lower the dimension, the more in the past it is. And so as you can see, each density here has 3 dimensions. It's what some know as a harmonic triad or harmonic universe. And so we live in density 1, the lowest density, and 3D Earth. And there actually are higher dimensional versions of Earth, by the way, but that is another story. So for every density, there is a group. As you can see, there's density 1, and it has density 1 group. And right here it shows the number of aspects. Now this number here is very specific to my universal stream. Your one may be completely different. You may have 1,000 or something. I don't know. I just made that up. And the same goes for the other densities. You may have a different amount of aspects. So I had to find this out myself. I had to, dive and ask my highest source and find out what resonates and what was true. So in my case, for my soul group, there are 12 aspects. And then there's the Oversoul Monad group, Christ Avatar group, Founder group, 16D Founder group. So I name these off names that are based on logic, but also terms that are familiar within our spiritual culture, but also names that actually resonate. Like these actually resonate with my heart to call these what they are called here, but they may be different for you. So each for every dimension, there are 4 aspects here. Except for the first density here, there's a lot here. And mind you might have a different amount of aspects in a density, so you might have a different amount of aspects per dimension. But yeah, in my case, it's 4. And as you can see, the black ones, there's black dots, and then there's blue dots. The blue dots are part of what I call my direct stream. The black ones are also part of my stream, but they're not part of the direct stream. They're just part of my universal stream. Stream as in stream of consciousness. So I had to basically go through and find what aspects are from where, and it was a very interesting process to go through and to find. They can be anywhere in this universe. So, but I was able to find it out, and so I have my direct my aspect here for 4D. That's part of my direct stream is a 4D Pleiadian, which is the location, and then the sex is a female. For some of them, I've got their specific form, for example, 13D, a 13D dimension. Andromeda is a location, and the blue dragon is its form, male is its sex. So yeah, if you're able to do this and to find yours out, it's very interesting. When, for example, my 13D Altair dragon is female. When you find it out, it's also interesting to look up the star, go hop onto a search engine and type in the name of the star or the location and actually look for a real picture, a real image of the star. And as you're tuning into your aspect, for example, my 13D Altair dragon, I would also look at the star, and I connected very, even stronger to this aspect. And almost every time I was getting downloads. I was getting downloads after downloads after downloads after downloads after downloads after downloads. It was just overwhelming. That's why I had to take 3 days to move through each one, because each one, when you're going up to 13D, it's man, these guys are so powerful. You're going to 15D, you're like, what? 16D is just these, they're amazing, incredible, each one of them. Okay, so I'll move over to my direct stream over here. So the idea of the direct stream is something that I'd never really come across before. So for every dimension, as I said, you have a certain amount of aspects, and one of those aspects is your main aspect for that dimension, and that aspect is part of your direct stream. So as you can see here, your direct stream is comprised of multiple aspects, of multiple dimensions. And your direct stream aspects are more significant because they have a more intimate connection with who you are on Earth energetically, and than the other aspects on your universal stream. So each one here can influence and support your connection to source, to God, in significant ways. So we all have this direct stream, and although this doesn't actually mean that all these aspects are on board with you, which is interesting. Adds a whole another level of complexity to this. But as you become more sensitive, you can notice that some aspects will be off to the left side of your body, and some will be off to the right, and some are perhaps in the middle. When they're in the middle, this is ideal. This is what this image depicts. This is alignment. This is why I call it direct, as in direct to God. It's also, the middle is also known as the Christic path. It's also the balance point. It's going beyond duality. So some of these are off to the right side, some of these to the left side, but each one of them can be asked to be coming to the center, to the middle. Each one can come to the center. And so when an aspect is not in alignment, for example, when my 4D self is not in the middle, but rather it's off to the right, then my energy is also a bit off to the right. It's not a clear, straight column of light. And I can tell by the contrast when my 4D is in the middle versus when it's off to the right, because there's such a significant difference in how present I am, and how much love I can feel, and how much clarity I have, and how clear my connection is to Source. You're always connected to Source, but it can be fuzzy, it can be clear. Sometimes, for example, my 8D self is out of alignment because he had certain wounds, and this needed to be processed in my life before I could really bring 8D into alignment. Until then, his wounds were reflecting into my outer 3D reality, into my relationships. So there's like a contract there, right? So we can work. You have to work things through together, and so you gotta, you do know that these are beings themselves. They have their own lives, their own themes, their own issues, agendas, purposes, missions, and you can build a relationship with them. And I find with my stream, if I help them, they are happy to help me. And this is the case with me on Earth. Like if someone helps me, I'm more than happy to help them as well. But yeah, remember, they are you. And you know how to work with you. And you know how to reach yourself. So sometimes there's a little bit of negotiation and processing together. But they're not there. They're not something to avoid. They are you. So, yeah, like, is this stuff really, do you really need to know this stuff? Well, you don't have to. You don't need to. It really depends on its relevance for your path. You will know because you'll feel attracted to this or not. There are many paths and all lead to the one source. I find that the more that we evolve, the more sensitive and aware we become, and we see more of what was already here, what is already here. And there's a lot here right now. In fact, everything is here right now. So these subtle layers become more apparent to you as you go along, and it's almost impossible to not encounter the subtle layers of your soul. So you more than likely will come across these aspects one way or another. And it's good to have some context and to be supportive, and you can ask these aspects to align, and the journey can be much, much more easier, much more clearer when you know what's going on and when you have some sort of framework to work with. But also know that this model is, I don't claim it to be complete. It can be very limiting. It can be limited. So just be open to that. But for the most part, I think that's mostly it. I think you can understand a lot more of it just by looking at it. I'll make another video or article actually touching on a source partner and more about the twin flame stuff and how it can tie into this, and how you can see that divine partnership, source partner, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, and how you can see that on a deeper level through this universal stream. So that'll be interesting to share with you all. Thank you for listening. I create this. I love this kind of stuff, but I also create artwork, which you can check out on my website, and I also do mentoring, which I now do. So look on my website, which you can find in the description, or go to www.ormondmachika.com. I think that's it for now. I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments or ask me. And thank you for listening.